Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni muli wanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts, in the shadow of the Great Blue Hills. We are so honored and so delighted and so wicked happy that you're joining us in our mission to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is the legendary children's recording artist Raffi. He is here to celebrate his brand new project, Nursery Rhymes for Kinder Times. Before we invite Raffi into the studio, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by Self-Publishing Made Simple with April Cox. We know that you love reading with your kids, and so many of you out there are authors, and you love writing for kids. And even more of you are out there thinking, I really want to write for kids, but man, getting published, I hear that's a nightmare. Finding an agent, getting rejection after rejection after rejection. I don't know if I can handle that. Well, guess what? You don't need to. April Cox can help you make your dream of publishing your own book come true. Imagine holding your own book right there in your hands. And in just a matter of a few months, it is possible with help from April Cox and Self-Publishing Made Simple. April has helped thousands of authors with her programs and services and has a special offer going on right now. Get a free consultation by visiting her website, selfpubmadesimple.com. And before long, we might be talking with you about your book here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Joining us right now from beautiful British Columbia in the wonderful nation of Canada. Our guest today, he has been the soundtrack to so many people's lives. Please welcome to the show internationally known recording artist Raffi. Hey, Raffi, how are you?
Hello, I'm well, thanks. How are you, Jed?
I'm delighted today. I'm delighted to meet you and have you here on the podcast. So many people grew up listening to your music and being comforted and inspired by that. I was talking with one of my interns earlier, and the first thing, as soon as I mentioned your name, he said, banana phone. And I thought, So what's it like knowing that you've had such an influence on so many children?
Well, I've been fortunate to have a career that's now in its fifth decade. The longevity is a great honor, to know that the songs that make me welcome as a friend to families in millions of homes, that tradition still continues. And what a privilege to earn the warm trust and love of my young fans. It's just a beautiful experience, a musical career that I could not have dreamed of, but one that I cherish every single day still.
Yeah. Well, you have a new project, and we're definitely going to be speaking about that. But I just, as you said, you never dreamed of having this career. Did you, in your younger years, dream of being the rock star and traveling all over the world doing rock stars?
Well, maybe a folky star, not a rock star. I dreamed of being a James Taylor type, and somehow along the way, my performances for adults were okay, but they never really caught fire, as it were. And then I came to discover the value of making music for young children. Mm-hmm. And how much of an aid music is to the social and emotional learning and development in young children. So when I found out I was good at it, that's what people kept saying, I made this initial album called Singable Songs for the Very Young, and it became such an instantly popular album that it then, birthed other albums, more singable songs, The Corner Grocery Store, and then in 1980, Baby Beluga. And that album, I think, as much as any, just kind of paved the way for a growth of the followers that I had and fans. Bananaphone was in 1994, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And the concerts themselves, I think, propelled a lot of this because fans came to theaters, and packed the halls, and it was as though the songs that they knew that I had recorded were the toys that we played with when we were together in a music hall. Because you don't sing to children, you sing with them, you sing for them, and sing along, it became the way of my concerts, singing along together.
What a wonderful image that your songs were the toys that you played with together with the kids in your audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So neat. You have a new project that folks are really excited about. It's called Nursery Rhymes for Kinder Times. Can you tell us a little bit about this, please?
Yes, I'm delighted to be releasing this album. It'll be released in May, but already the first single from it is out. It's called Three Kind Mice. And I had the pleasure of making this music with a fine singer who lives in the Boston area called Lindsay Monroe. Lindsay Monroe is a fine singer and songwriter with a golden voice. And this is the third album where she and I, are singing together. And I produced all these 3 albums in the last 3 years, actually. And so Nursery Rhymes for Kinder Times. The idea is quite simple. A lot of the old nursery rhymes that we know, including Three Blind Mice or Rockabye Baby, The Cradle Falls and such, they have lyrics that are, potentially quite disturbing or frightening for kids. A woman who's a music educator, longtime music educator, Pam Gittleman of Cambridge, actually, she came to me and she said, I would love to refresh these old nursery rhymes with new lyrics that I have done, she said, and she had wonderful lyrics. And it only called me to adapt a little bit here and there, the lyrics that she had already adapted. Mm-hmm. And where there were no melodies to speak of to some of these nursery rhymes, I provided melodies. And so we came up with Humpty Dumpty. When he fell, his friends came to his aid. We came up with Rockabye Baby, The Cradle. Well, a brother and a sister peeked in to add, to bring comfort to the baby in the cradle. London Rain is falling down, not the bridge. Mm-hmm. So, these are, hopefully new and improved nursery rhymes that a generation of children may make their own. And I'm very happy about that. And wait till you hear Lindsay Monroe sing on this album. It's just her voice and mine, I've been told, go very well together.
Awesome.
So happy about that.
That's so wonderful. Why do you think, because we've talked a lot on the podcast with different authors who have taken fairy tales and updated them to make them kinder, more inclusive, more diverse. Why in the world do you think that at one time people would write poems for kids about 3 blind mice and a woman cutting off their tails? It just boggles my mind.
It's hard to know why, it went that way. We certainly lived in very different times 100 years ago, obviously, or whenever these original rhymes emerged. I think there was a sense that, oh, it couldn't hurt children to know how the real world is, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And we've come a long way from that sentiment. Now we think about giving children life-affirming early experiences, positive experiences that can encourage them to play in the theater of their imaginations without fear, without, undue trepidation, So I think positive early experience is what children deserve.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's what they need.
Yeah. I was looking at the information that the publicist sent over, and it's such a wonderful idea to take these rhymes and to create them anew for a new audience, to be more positive, to be comforting. I really, really love that. What's the reaction been to folks who've had sneak peeks and sneak listens to
it's been so positive. They love it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ring Around the Rosie is now Ring Around Sweet Roses. And we don't want to all fall down at the end and die. We take roses to the teacher. We take roses to mom, and so there's such a lovely, cheerful, supportive feeling in all of these songs. And by the way, I'm also told that the melodies I came up with are quite catchy. So I'm glad for that feedback too, because, music that's melodic and well made, that's what you want to listen to.
Absolutely.
You don't want to listen to something just because it's the right thing to listen to. You want to listen to something that's fun. So this is a fun, tender, and loving album, I would say, with a lot to give to young fans and their families.
Yeah. We talk, of course, Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're all about encouraging families to spend time reading together. But I also think
we talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. But before we do, I'm one of the things I'm hoping is that parents would become more conscious and intentional about the music that they listen to with their kids. I had an experience many years ago. My beautiful wife and I were running a summer camp for kids from 5 to 15, and we were taking it in this inner city kids, and we're taking them to a pool, and I'm driving in the van, and one of the older kids turns on the radio, and it's a hip-hop song, and I just wasn't quite listening until I noticed that the 3 and 4-year-olds were singing the lyrics. And then I realized, and then I actually heard what the lyrics were, and I said, "Shut this off." And I don't think think adults pay enough attention to what they might be listening to and what they might be listening to with their kids in the car or in the van with them.
I would like to think more and more that people are, becoming more considerate that way. You raise a very good point, of course, and certainly. There's now ample music for young children. I mean, more than enough for the playlist to be quite broad and deep. And
Yeah. So you said you wanted to talk about reading with your kids. Tell us, why do you think it's so important?
Reading with young children, especially, it has a magic all its own. There you are. And your young one is snuggled up right beside you, maybe in your lap, or just right beside you, and you've got your arm around them possibly, or you're holding the book with your hands. As I often say to my young friend who's with me, I say, okay, you get to turn the page, okay? Okay. So I'll go, okay, and then they'll turn the page, and then I'll read a little bit, pointing to the words sometimes, with my finger. I say, okay. And they'll turn the page because they love that. They love to have something to do. But what they love and what I love is we're enjoying each other's company in a wonderful, warm, feeling kind of way, because we're enchanted by the mystery that reading brings, These words on the page aren't just words. They're sound clips to different vistas and different thoughts and feelings and whimsy and humor and what a lovely thing it is to read with a young child. There's almost nothing I enjoy more except maybe singing with young children. It's really something.
Yeah. that is one of the reasons people ask me, why did you start the Reading with Your Kids podcast? And that's exactly why. I know that the relationship that I have now with my adult kids began when they were 2 and 3 and 4 years old, sitting on my lap, reading together and having those conversations and continuing to read with them and co-read with them as they grew older. And, and now when they're 26 and 29, we can still continue to sit down and have those conversations about books or movies or television or just life.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And, there are books based on my songs, too. Some of them are in board book form because apparently real young ones like to eat them. Or I shouldn't say eat them, bite them, right? Anyway, so there's Baby Beluga, Down by the Bay. Just recently there was Everything Grows and a few other titles as well. And I'm delighted that they're so popular with the very young.
Yeah. We had an author on that created board books made out of that Tyvek plastic stuff that we use to insulate our houses. It can be safe for kids to munch on, and then they won't get the cardboard in their mouth.
I see. Well, okay then. So long as the plastic, if it is plastic, you'd hope that wouldn't be problematic, right?
Yeah, evidently it's not. They did all sorts of testing with it. Let
me say, all the board books that I produce of my songs are made with chlorine-free paper and chlorine-free board. This is very important. So that's good for parents to know.
Absolutely. It's wonderful that you've put so much thought into the music you're creating, into the books that you're creating. So many people take shortcuts because it's easier, it's cheaper, we can make more money. No. What's driving you to take that care?
What drives me to care as much as I do is simple. It's a word called respect. I respect my young audience. I respect children for the whole people that they are. They deserve our best consideration, not our second or third best. They deserve, all the care that we can take, or all the care we can put into the products that they're going to hold with their hands and so on. In every aspect of our relationship with children, we have opportunities to show that we respect them, and it's my delight and it gives me joy to do so in as many ways as I can. Yeah. What they deserve.
My friend, we have so many, obviously, parents and teachers who listen to the show, and a lot of those parents and teachers are authors or aspiring authors, and I know in talking to them, so many of them have a dream of going into schools and doing school visits and presentations and shows. What advice can you give to them as they're developing their shows to make sure that what they're bringing to kids is as wholesome and enriching as possible?
Well, I usually say do what you love, and, with children, when you approach your audience with respect, your repertoire is going to be respectful of their early years. Your vocabulary is going to be such that they understand the words. They can reach up a little bit, but you want to be, not presenting anything negative. You want to present positive, cheerful, supportive music in various ways, and you want the tone of your voice in singing or reading shouldn't be talking down to anybody. It should be, person to person, a holistic appreciation, if you will, of the young people that you are with, because regardless of how young they are, they're whole people with thoughts and feelings that are worthy of our respect. They have a dignity all their own. And if you approach them with that spirit, you can't go wrong.
I love that. Remembering that kids aren't less than, that they are whole people. Right. They deserve our respect and love. Yeah. And I think that that's a message that that we teach our kids to respect and love and care for everybody that they encounter. I think that's something that your message
So isn't it important then for us to model that as well? Mm-hmm. And I like to say, because children in their early years are the primary learners of humanity, if you think about it, because they're learning how it feels to be human. Mm. They're learning the sophisticated tasks of language acquisition, grammar and syntax, all of this in the playful mode of life. It's genius what's going on here. So how can we not be supportive and give them our best? I mean, it's really quite something. I call them our most valuable players.
Yes.
Children are the MVPs of society.
Absolutely. You've had such a long and storied career. Are there one or two moments that really stand out in your memory?
Probably several hundred. But there was this one time, I remember a concert I did in the 1980s in California, and it had gone really well, and people clapped a long time, and I came back on stage to do an encore. And just as the audience applause died down, a young voice from the front yelled out, "Why is he coming back?" Well, everybody laughed, but I didn't laugh. I knew that it was an important question. So I said, "Oh, good question." Sometimes when the concert goes really well and people want to hear more, they keep clapping. And that is a signal to me that I should come back. And that's why I came back, to sing another song. I took that moment to explain.
Yeah, what a beautiful thing to respect. Just what we were talking about, just to respect that this child had an honest question.
That's right.
It was funny, and at the moment you easily could have just ignored it and kind of moved on.
And before my last song, I had likely said, and to close the show, here's here's my last song type of thing, and here I am coming back. I thought it was a very reasonable question.
Yeah, and what a beautiful thing to have given that child the answer in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know one of the things that I became aware of is that you have a foundation for child honoring, the Raffi Foundation for Child Honoring. Yeah. Can you tell us just a little bit about that before we go?
Child honoring is a philosophy I've developed. It came to me in a vision in 1997 and woke me from a sound sleep. Those two words, child honoring, floating in the air. I knew that it would be the work of the rest of my life. Child honoring as a philosophy, developing it, sharing it, now with my foundation, whose mission it is to advance child honoring as a universal ethic, has become, in a way, a second career for me. I co-edited and published an anthology of essays from 22 leading thinkers, all echoing their respect for the child honoring vision. The anthology is called Child Honoring, How to Turn This World Around. And the foreword is by the Dalai Lama. So I invite people to go to RaffiFoundation.org. Have a look at what this child honoring philosophy is all about. There's a covenant for honoring children and 9 principles that arise from it. And there's an online course in child honoring that parents and educators can take. And those who've already taken it have given us a lot of good praise, have endorsed it. One parent said there was more child development wisdom in this course in one place than she'd seen anywhere else. So RaffiFoundation.org, there's a lot there waiting for you.
Wonderful. And before we go and before I ask you if folks can find out more about the new music project, we have so many of your fans who are now parents who listen to the show, and they're worried. They're worried about the pandemic. It seems to be coming to an end, but maybe it might come back, and what's going on in Europe right now. Do you have any words that might comfort them?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm still wearing my mask when I go out to stores, just as a precaution. I think precaution is good. We don't have to, worry about the stuff too much. If you feel like wearing your mask, do it. If you don't want, depending on where you live and what the guidelines, the public health guidelines are too, respect those guidelines, respect the science, respect vaccines. And I don't know, we're all muddling our way through, aren't we? And those of us who are here, we're grateful to be in reasonably good health, and let's take good care and be as safe as we can.
Yes. And where can people go to find out more about Nursery Rhymes for Kinder Times?
Well, I think it's already. That album is in your favorite streaming site, so you can ask for it by name, put it on your playlist, but the entire album won't be out till May. So right now you can concentrate on the song Three Kind Mice.
Awesome.
That's the way to get into the album, because that's already out as a single and as a video. It's a cute little video.
Well, we've had a wonderful time speaking to the legendary performer, Raffi. My friend, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
The legendary Jed, it was a pleasure to speak with you.
Please be sure to join us for next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Savon Hong. She's returning to the show to celebrate Avery G in the scary end of school. You probably thought that every kid was really, really excited to have the school year end and to be off for the summer. But for a lot of kids on the autism spectrum, and a lot of kids in general, the end of summer means the end of a schedule and a routine that they count on, that they thrive on. Savon talks all about that. That's the next episode of the podcast. Hey, we would love to connect with you on social media. Please do reach out to us. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids. @readingwithyourkids on Instagram. Be sure to check out our Pinterest page @readingwithyourkids. And, of course, you can connect with us on Twitter @JedleyMagic. And we have a brand new TikTok page. It's just starting. We have a couple of our Reading With Your Kids Certified Great Read videos up there. It's @readingwithyourkids on TikTok. We also would love for you to go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on click to sign up for our free newsletter. We have a brand new revamped newsletter coming out sometime here in April. You are going to love it. Also, you can click on the contact button at the top of the page to send us a message. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we could be doing better. And let us know who you would like to hear on a future episode of the podcast. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. First off, let's start by thanking our guest, Raffi. Please be sure to check out his brand new Nursery Rhymes for Kinder Times project. We're really excited about it. Also want to thank our sponsor, Self-Publishing Made Simple with April Cox. Please go to her website, selfpubmadesimple.com, and sign up for a free consultation. Who knows? We may be talking to you about your fantastic children's book in the very near future. Also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Skylar Strauss, Rory Grady. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.